Do you remember being a kid and drawing something, or being a kid and just doing something just for the sake of doing it and it being fun? Yeah, I do, and it's completely gone now. When did life become such a grind? When did life become so difficult to where we can't even have hobbies anymore? Whenever you're good at something, someone is going to come up to you and they're going to say, you should sell this, or you should teach people this. Whenever you're good at something, it's going to have to be monetized because everything is so expensive these days. Everything is completely different from when I was a kid, from when a lot of people were kids, where we knew people that were entrepreneurs and they had things that they did on the side, but they were like entrepreneurial minded people. Now everybody has to. And if you're not, guess what? You can sign up for Uber Eats, or you can sign up for DoorDash, or you can sign up for one of these places, because guess what? You're going to have to get to work. So tell me that in the comments. How many side hustles do you have? And then are those side hustles even allowing you to put away money and save money and actually accomplish things with it? Or are those side hustles just helping you stay afloat? So like I said, side hustles used to be a choice. When we were kids, our parents or our friends' parents, they could be a single parent household. They could have a normal job where they will be making, the equivalent of what today's 60K is. So 40K back then. You used to be able to buy clothes with that for your kids. You used to be able to take them out to the movies every week, take them out to restaurants every other week. You used to be able to do all kinds of activities and not go into debt to do it. Believe it or not, it used to be less than $1,000 to live someplace a month. I know it's hard to believe, but it actually used to be like $600, $400, depending on where you live. In the early 2000s, some people were paying like $300 a month to live in places. But nowadays, you have people that are getting married. Both of them together are not able to sustain the same type of life that our parents did when we were kids. Both of them together, like two incomes. One income at 40K used to be enough, but now two incomes, pulling in anywhere from 80K or 70K or 100 plus K, it still is difficult. Like, not only has rent gone up, food has gone up.
Now we turn to skyrocketing egg prices and the search for savings.
The USDA says egg prices are up nearly 37% from a year ago. They're expected to rise another 20% this year.
Literally going outside. If I go outside on the weekends these days and I just relax and don't perfectly plan it out, I can easily spend $300 on a single day. Just go outside, go to a restaurant. If you go to if you actually wanted to go to multiple restaurants, like you were outside all Saturday, you go to multiple restaurants, you go to a festival, and you come back home. Yeah, you're like $200-$300 out. That's just the way it is these days. Before, if you had $100, you're like, oh, I'm perfect. I'm cool. There's no way that I'm going to spend all of this money. So yeah, hobbies used to actually be for fun. Hobbies stoke our creativity. Hobbies are our recharge. Hobbies are supposed to be an escape from the real world. But in reality, we're using our hobbies and hopefully it's probably our best bet at this point. Our generation, people are getting laid off left and right. So it's probably our best bet to turn our hobbies into things. But we're really using our hobbies at this point to make a living. And then you're putting that at risk. If you love to paint and someone convinces you to start selling your art and then you have a bunch of orders to fill, then it's not necessarily your hobby, it's your job, and it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. And I've run into this with my other YouTube channel. I talked about sports there, and I just have found myself less and less interested until I took a break. Until I took a break away from that channel, I found myself less and less interested in talking about football. And it's very easy to become disinterested in the things that you love once you monetize them. So this has us turning our creator brain off, and it just has us in a constant state of survival mode where we're constantly trying to make sure that everything that we do is not wasted motion and becoming the most efficient making money machine that we possibly can be. And then if you're somebody that's lucky enough to carve out a nice little niche in the economy or in this world where you feel comfortable, you're like, I'm not spending too much money. I found out cheap ways to do things. I'm telling you guys, y'all got to hit up the thrift stores. Y'all got to hit up these movie theaters on their 50% off days. Y'all got to find these ways to save some money. But once you find that, you go online, and you see somebody your age that's like swimming in it. Like they got like $5 million that they made last month. They're telling you like it's free money. If you don't sign up with them, you're an idiot because you're just throwing away free money. And then you scroll down again and then they're saying, okay, if you just do this, listen, this is free. Download my free ebook. If you just do this, I promise you, you'll be just as successful as me. So you have all these people that you're looking at that it just seems so attainable to be at this level of financial independence, where you see those people where they've made so much money that they're able to go back to drawing. They're able to go back to playing soccer in the middle of the day or whatever you love to do. They're able to go back to that because they have this financial freedom. It loops us back in to say, oh, well, the plan that I have working for me now is fine, but I could be doing this. So it causes us to say, how can I make some extra money on the side? How can I make some extra money on the side? Which again, turns off the brain, turns off the creativity that we could be using to help the world out. I mean, a lot of the best inventions weren't even because like someone said, I want this to be created and then I want to charge everybody money for it. A lot of this is just like a lot of the inventors, they were creating things just because they wanted to create things because they thought it would solve a problem. And that's normally how you end up making a ton of money. Like that's normally how people end up making a ton of money, is they create something, people like it, and then the money just comes to them because they create something that everybody receives. But if you're thinking about creating something or building something where your entire goal is, I need to make money from this, then it becomes very difficult to stay motivated. It becomes very difficult to actually follow through on. And I mean, to be honest, it's kind of selfish. If people aren't leaving whatever you've put out, if they're not walking away from whatever you showed them or gave them with added value, then it's not going to be successful either. Now, something that I know we all wish we could do more of, that we did a lot more of as kids, besides just our general hobbies, is reading. And then the first thing that we do when we say, I want to get back into reading, people say, oh yeah, you should read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, who's like, he's getting like obliterated in the news right now, but for making up stories. They're like, you should read that. You should read 48 Laws of Power. You should read this. You should read that. And those books are all very important. Those books, not all of them, but these books can be helpful. Self-help books are definitely helpful. But at the same time, reading this book right here, does this really help me be more creative? High Performance Habits. Yes, it can help me do things that will eventually lead me to having more time, that will eventually lead me to being more creative. Yes, but at the same time, my mind is not exploring anything abstract. Whereas this book right here, Lord of the Flies, it showed me a ton of stuff when I first read the book. First off, empathy, being able to see things from other people's perspective. There's no way that you're going to be able to do something that's creative, that touches an entire group of people, without understanding that group of people, without being able to put yourself in their point of view. If you're making a YouTube channel, if you don't know what your target audience wants and what they're looking for and what makes them excited and what makes them happy and what their goals are, then there's no way you're going to be able to make something that actually caters to them. And yes, you can learn marketing from a self-help book. You can learn marketing and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, empathy is very much needed in society today. We see a lot of people who just lack empathy. And I think part of it is that they're reading a lot of this and not enough of this. I really think that's part of it, because we're not reading fiction anymore. And when I say we, I mean especially men. They're not reading fiction anymore. For example, about 55% of women have read a fiction book in the last 12 months, whereas 33% of men have read fiction, which shows, it shows kind of why women are kind of more empathetic than men, because men are constantly consuming books like this that teach you how to be a robot, that teach you how to be a machine. Let's say you do make a bunch of money and you just become a machine. It teaches you how to do that. And then after that, you get off of the book and you log on YouTube, and then you watch some YouTuber tell you the same thing that you just read about. The research has shown us that reading fiction is connected to creativity, it's connected to an enhanced imagination, and it's connected to empathy. And I think those three things are things that people are overlooking in a society where we're moving further and further toward AI, further and further to what can this person do for me? What can I do for this person? Rather than just seeing each other as human beings and being able to put ourselves in each other's shoes. Folks, it is really easy to look at a recipe and follow it step by step and get a great result. But what happens when they take away one of the ingredients?
I said over easy!
And that's just a metaphor for me of just saying, like, what happens when things change and you're not able to follow your perfect recipe for success and you have to actually adapt, be creative. Your mind has to be malleable and you have to do something different than you've ever done. And if you only know how to do things like this is my 4-point framework. And if you only know how to do things that way, it's not going to be sustainable long term. You really think that all of these tech billionaires are not creative? Every year Bill Gates drops a book list, and I'm pretty sure every year on that list is a good amount of fiction. So take from that what you will. So not everything needs to be productive. You don't have to be the most optimal person to be a valuable person. Please carve out some time to enjoy a fiction book, or enjoy drawing, or just enjoy trying to cook something new, or enjoy something that you've never done before. And if you're good at it, sure, turn it into a side hustle, but don't try to turn it into a side hustle. Try to enjoy something new or enjoy something old and just enjoy it. Because if you don't use that part of your brain, it will disappear. And you don't want to be somebody who can't think outside the box. Don't get me wrong, money definitely matters because we need it to exist. And don't hurt yourself by not using opportunities that are good to make money, but don't make everything about money. And if unwinding to you looks like watching Netflix, check out this video here.